it says to give a password. I have no idea what password that wants to share audio. Does anybody know how this works? Uh-oh.
Joanna, give me 1 second. I'm going to look up the password for this so that you can.
Okay.
This account is the AIADC account, so I just have to find it really quickly.
Oh, so it might be your password, not mine.
Yeah, let me. I can shoot it to you in a DM on the via Zoom. Just 1 second.
Okay, great.
I think it might be working. Yeah, we can see.
Okay.
Joanna, is it a video you're trying to share the audio for?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, I just shot it over to you.
Okay, so I'm going to do this again because hopefully when it. Okay. Give me a second, I'm trying to get your chat. That seems to be complicating things. Is it something you can read to me?
Oh, the password?
Yeah, because I'm having a hard time opening the chat when I'm in this window that's asking for the password.
Sure, it's capital J as in job, capital M as in Michael, I, L as in Linda, L as in Linda, E as in elephant, R as in Robert, 1, 9, question mark, question mark.
Ah, and those were all capitals?
Oh, sorry, just the first two, capital J. It's J Miller 19, so it's capital J, capital M.
Okay.
J Miller 19, and then 2 question marks afterward.
J Miller 19, question mark, question mark.
Yes.
Oh, it's not working. Oh, what's the username?
1 second. It is.
It should be info@aiadc.com.
No,
it's SERD, all lowercase, WIEN @aiadc.com.
Looks like Joanna might have dropped off the call.
Really?
That's okay. So we
can start. I suggest we can start talking about the program while we pretty visuals. So again, I'm Maria Casarella. I'm a senior associate with Cunningham Quill Architects. And actually, Rachel, you can speak about how the program started, because you've been there for the ride, right?
Sure. So it started a little bit before me, but this was to get girls involved in careers in design and make sure that they have the ability to learn more about careers in design and see women professionals in the field. So every workshop is different. We do repeat, but we don't repeat in the same year.
Okay, so I'm going to give this a shot again. I had to switch computers because I gave up on that. I got.
So Joanna, while you're doing that, Rachel was just sort of describing the program.
Okay, great. Can you see a yellow screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna hope that I can make the audio work here. If not, we'll skip over the videos. I will just start by saying technical difficulties always kind of seek me out. I think maybe it's a user error thing. But I will start, I may repeat some of what Rachel said. Thank you, Rachel, for filling in. Starting with the program and why we even started this program. These few numbers here to describe some of the issues that we're trying to overcome. First, STEM programs, STEM jobs are growing 3 times faster in this country than other jobs. And statistically, women hold about 50% of all jobs in the US, but not STEM jobs. They only hold about 25% of all STEM jobs in the US. And even lower percentages are the number of female registered architects relative to male architects, 17%. So how do we resolve this issue in future generations? And role models and mentoring is a key path to improving this. I like this quote. It's from the National Coalition of Girls Schools. It says, no matter their age or background, girls envision their future based on role models they can see. When they see it, they believe they can be it. So role models they can see, they need to see themselves as these people, as the jobs, as the professions they want to take on. And young girls really exhibit the same level of confidence as boys up until about the age of 8. But the key here is that going into adolescence, girls start to lose that confidence and start to doubt themselves. A book called The Confidence Code for Girls actually quotes some statistics and some surveys that show that girls' confidence actually drops by 30% as they develop and move into adolescence. Adolescence is a key moment in physical development, but also psychological and confidence development. Girls tend to be perfectionists. They tend to be afraid of failure. So it's really important, and again, this is another girls' school, National Coalition of Girls Schools comment, it's important to provide a safe environment. And by that, they mean single gender environment, which is obvious given it's a girls' school coalition, but a safe environment in which to experiment and to fail. It's super important to remove that fear of failure and embrace the ability to fail and fail successfully. So to provide that environment is really key. So this is where Design Like a Girl comes in. The name, I'm going to start with this, and this is where I hope the audio works. Like a Girl is an ad campaign that got a lot of attention during the 2014 Super Bowl. It asks, what does it mean to do things like a girl? Fingers crossed.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl.
Yay.
My hair. Oh my God.
Show me what it looks like to fight like a girl. Now throw like a girl.
So to these adults, like a girl is a phrase that's an insult. But the next clip here shows what young girls say to the same question.
My name is Dakota, and I'm 10 years old.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl. Throw like a girl. Fight like a girl. What does it mean to you when I say run like a girl?
It means run fast as you can.
Okay, that gets me a little choked up, and I've seen this about 4 million times, but I love it. To these little girls, they can do or be anything. They do not doubt themselves. So to play like a girl or lead like a girl or throw like a girl or design like a girl means to do it with confidence. So that is what we're trying to do, is have a program here where girls feel confident they can be or do anything they want. So the program, I know Rachel started on this, I'm probably going to repeat things. It's a program that is bringing middle school girls, so adolescent girls, together with architects, engineers, landscape architects, female professionals, to show them these great opportunities professionally and to be role models. We have 4 workshops over the course of the academic year. They all have a theme. They all include a field trip or a outing of some sort, a project that includes, of course, drawing, lots of model building, and ultimately a presentation at the end of the workshop each day, each of the 4 workshops. And it's really key that that presentation is about developing presentation skills, which is never too early, but also about building confidence. The first of the 4 workshops every year, we focus on architecture, the fundamentals of architecture. We then use the next 3 workshops to explore different areas in the design profession. So interior design, landscape design, set design. We've had a couple of really fun set design workshops, construction and engineering. So these are all the different workshops we've done over the 5 years. We've repeated a few because they're so fun that sometimes I have to just do them a few times, like designing spaces for space. I'll describe that in a minute. Fundamentals of architecture, that's where we start. And the girls learn to draw to scale, to read scales, a little bit about plan section and elevation. And I will say peppers are awesome for plan section and elevation, as are apples. Cupcakes aren't bad either. I like peppers personally. We have a engineering and construction workshop. We've done this a few times. We've had structural engineers, mechanical, plumbing, fire, life safety engineers, part of the workshop as guest mentors. You can see on the left, the construction site that you saw in your social media piece is at a point where we're roughing in building systems. We'd already talked about building systems, and the girls really get to see the complexity of putting a building together, but what goes on behind the paint and behind the carpet. And this is just fun to walk through. I mean, who doesn't like walking through a construction site and wearing a hard hat, of course. We go back to the studio and build structures. We build bridges, we build towers, we test their strength, try to knock them down or try not to let them be knocked down. The ones in the lower right corner are on a shake table, so we're testing lateral stability. The one in the upper right corner is Peyton's design from this year. She's on the call with us today. Designing spaces for space. This is a super cool program because we start at Air and Space Museum, and in the images on the right-hand side, you see Dr. Camille Allen, who is a engineer for the International Space Station, or she now is working on some Mars stuff, so she's graduated. She talked to the girls about her career path and about designing for zero gravity. Makes me feel a little like I have gravity working for me. It's a little bit, we're cheating down here. Really exciting and inspiring discussion. I love the fact that not only is she a woman in a very technical male-dominated field, but she's a woman of color in a male-dominated field. So really a great role model and example for these girls. We went back to the studio here, and the girls in teams worked on designing their own modules and building models for a space station. At the end of the program, we all put the space station modules together into one unit. And you can see some cool designs here. These are kind of small scale models. The first year we did this, we did a huge 6 foot by 6 foot by 6 foot frame. And then we built kind of small scale, but semi real life scale modules, which was crazy. This is our Memorials and Sacred Spaces workshop that we started at the Eisenhower Memorial construction site. We got a tour of the construction site, and the girls Skyped with the female project manager from Frank Gehry's office. She was in Spain approving limestone, but she got on the phone and Skyped with us so the girls could hear a little bit about her career path and ask questions. And I thought that was really fun, a good example of another woman in the profession. The model on the right-hand side I'm showing you is an example of one of the memorials the girls designed and built. Our youngest girl designed this, and when she presented it, she said that it's a memorial to victims of Alzheimer's disease. And I get choked up, sorry, of Alzheimer's disease. The tree is reflected in the water. And when the water is still and there's no wind, you see the tree and you see the reflection. But when the wind blows and the water is not still, the tree is still there as its reflection. You just don't recognize it as easily. So, talk about the power of architecture. This 11-year-old girl really shows us, some creativity and some maturity of design. And all the girls have consistently been so creative and so thoughtful in their design that it's just crazy exciting to me to think about this as a future generation. I shouldn't say next because there's a couple in between maybe, but a future generation of architects and other design professionals. This year, we had a slightly different setup. We went virtual like the rest of the world. And I didn't know what to expect, but I've got to say that everybody really rose to the challenge, and it was a great workshop. I would in fact say at Flourish, we really expanded a bit because it was online. We ended up with girls, one from San Francisco and one from Dubai. So we had a 12-hour time difference across our program, 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 7 p.m. And I really thought that it was great. You know, one of the better workshops, and we all managed. You can see us here in our little Hollywood squares. Peyton's almost in the middle, and that was just I thought a really fun workshop. You know, I'm really looking forward to getting back to an in-person workshop, but in this case, it really was quite good. We've had about 50 plus girls go through the program. Some of them are into the high school ages and thinking about what they do. And we've started to reach out to all 5 years and inquire. And I've received a few responses back. And it does look like a few of our girls, and maybe they're the ones that are responding because they're excited about a profession in architecture. One girl talked about landscape architecture. So I really am hopeful that either girls go into professions similar to ours, or if they don't, that's perfectly okay. But maybe they just become a little bit more aware of the profession, and as future maybe clients of ours, they know the profession a bit better, or they just plain gain a bit of confidence in the idea that they can do anything, because they can. And I like this I use this slide a lot about mentoring. And I really think that mentoring, while we are talking about introducing girls to the profession of architecture or the design professions, it's really about growth. And the intellectual growth, emotional, social growth, and growth and confidence, all super important. And I just hope that, you know, this program does make a difference in either a career path or a life path for the girls that participate. I can say confidently it makes a difference in the life path of at least me as a mentor. And I think the other mentors feel that it's just been a really awesome experience to work with a bunch of bright, creative, dynamic girls. And I say this all the time, but I feel a little bit like I play hooky when we have these workshops, because, you know, we get to draw and build models. I mean, what's not to love? So that is the program. It's 5 years old. We're going into our 6th year. As I said, I hope we're going into our 6th year with some in-person workshops, but we also know that we can work virtually. So that's a pretty cool thing. I guess I'm going to let us move to the next part of the program. Some questions, anybody?
Sure, this is incredible, Joanna. Wish we had something like this when we were growing up.
Oh yeah, I knew no female architects.
Yeah, so there wasn't a program like this.
A really good comment that was in the chat while you were presenting was that Bridget said that set design was her introduction to architecture. So that's really funny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I even got my minor in theater design while doing architecture.
Well, one of the people, we did have a set designer that I had worked with before in my architectural office, but he also had done theater design. And we did allow a male set designer to be part of the Design Like a Girl workshop. But it was really cool because he's kind of been on both sides of the profession, both as architect, has designed theaters, and as set designer. So I just love that he saw this from you know, a couple of different sides. But set design is definitely, I think, a very cool profession. So.
That's good. Since you guys had virtual program last year, can mentors share some of your experience, or what was the innovative way you guys, what was the approach when you were doing this program virtually, especially like set designing, or like how you were teaching drawings and all those things?
Well, I'll let others answer the question, but I'm going to just tell you the workshops we had last year. We did a architecture, fundamentals of architecture. We had interior design, we had engineering and construction, and we had landscape design. Those were our 4 workshops for last year. But any other mentors, please jump in and answer.
Okay, I will jump in. This year was my first year at with Design Like a Girl. And I think one thing that the virtual workshops allowed us, like Joanna already mentioned, we had 2 girls that joined from San Francisco and Dubai. And I know the program shipped all the materials to the girls ahead of time, ahead of the our session. And they already sort of knew what the general topic was. And sometimes they were encouraged to do some research on their own. So once we actually got into the workshop, they had done a bit of research and they already had materials on hand. So I think having them work from home with the materials, one of the girls can probably speak to this better, but I felt for some of the girls, it was more liberating to work at your own desk without having people around to always be asking you questions. Cause like we're all on Zoom and the girls are working as we're working and we're talking to them. So I felt like the girls actually got a lot done, but this was my first year. So somebody else can speak to that who was here before.
Yeah, it looks like Courtney.
I would agree with that. So the first year in person, you know, we worked one-on-one or in small groups with the girls, but this year we would have, Joanna would give like a overall lecture, we would come together in one room and then divide up into the breakout rooms. And I would agree it was a really great opportunity to build personal connections because we were in those breakout rooms for, you know, 2 hours sometimes, working with the girls from start to finish on one project. So that's a great opportunity just to chit chat as they're working, you know, and talk through different architectural concepts. And then also throughout the year, getting to come back, if you're in the same breakout room with those girls, you can really develop a relationship over the course of the year.
Sounds good. So we'll have some questions for girls. So can you guys tell us what was the best thing or favorite part of the program and what you learned about lessons learned while attending those lectures or lessons?
Yeah. Who wants to jump in on that?
We have
Peyton looks like Peyton and Kennedy both raised their hands. Let's go one at a time. You can both answer. Kennedy.
Okay. My favorite part was probably meeting female architects because like you said, there's not that many in the industry. So meeting them and seeing like what they went through and talking to them about their journey and getting there and what's to come is probably very interesting and my favorite part.
It's great. That's the big picture purpose of this thing. So Peyton, you were going to answer the question also.
Yeah, so I was going to say like meeting all the female architects and getting like their input on like the projects I was creating in the meetings, and also like being able to use some of the stuff that I had at my house since I did it virtually, and like finding creative ways to fit it into the projects that I made. Mm-hmm.
That definitely worked. That was the fun part too. And the fact that you had those materials left over from one workshop to the next workshop to start to go back and grab something from, you know, ooh, I want to grab something out of the interior design workshop.
So Peyton,
Reagan raised her hand.
Yeah, where is Reagan? I lost her all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm here. So I was in the in-person workshops, and I really enjoyed having that one-on-one connection with the mentors. And I loved being in person in the different field trips and the different hands-on experiences we got to have. It was really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I missed, I will say, when we were virtual, I missed not being able to physically touch the models, because when, you know, between the 2 workshops, the in-person 4 years and the virtual 1 year, you can, you know, Reagan, you'd be able to attest to this, is we'd be able to come over and even just hold something while things were gluing, or have a couple of different hands working on a model that, you know, Peyton and Kennedy were left to try to balance something and glue it at the same time with only their own hands. You know, so there is definitely 2 different feels to it, but both fun, both good.
And to continue to that part, so for the girls, like, what was your inspiration to join the program, or do you look up to anyone as an inspiration? Like if Peyton or Kennedy or Reagan?
It looked like Peyton raised her hand there.
So I really got into architecture by like seeing some did like of the shows on TV, like HGTV, and seeing how they'd remodel all these houses. And then when I'd gone to DC once for like, I think it might have been a part of DLAG. And it was at the District Architecture Center, I think.
Yeah.
And I went down and saw like 3D printers and different tools that architects use to like do their projects and work. So yeah, that was part of my inspiration.
Yeah, it's all kind of fun. I mean, most of the time.
Seeing those models, like you must be like intrigued, like how you build those, right? Does anyone else want to share?
Reagan has her hand up.
Reagan?
Yeah, so I would say that my inspiration definitely was like design shows. I really enjoyed interior design, but also just like seeing how things were made and kind of that process and the different techniques that they would use. And then once I got to Design Like a Girl, I could really test out different fields like landscape and exterior and different building monuments. And it was just a whole different experience than what I had seen before.
Great.
Great. Yeah. So Joanna, quick question, like have you kept in touch with the past participants, or do you know if anyone pursued to study design?
Yeah, we've recently reached out to the entire 5 years of girls to ask where they are, you know, kind of what grade, what age, if they're starting to think about college, and if they're thinking about a career related to architecture. And I've received a few comments back already. I don't know how many, but the ones that have responded are responding that they are influenced in their likely career or at least school direction by our profession or professions. One girl I think was mentioning engineering, another girl landscape architecture. So not just architecture. And you know, my thinking was not that, okay, we're going to make everybody an architect. It was more, we're going to introduce girls to professions that are typically not at the top of many girls' minds as something that's available to them. And so I'm excited for engineering, I'm excited for landscape architecture, set design. Any of these professions count in my mind because I feel like it's an awareness of something that may not typically be in the forefront of young girls' minds. So it looks like we're getting some affirmative answers, you know, yes, that this is interesting to me. But as I noted earlier, I also like the idea of just introducing girls to the profession so that they know about it. It doesn't mean that they have to be an architect. They might be a developer who comes and hires us, you know, so yeah, it all counts.
I would like to ask a question to our mentees, the girls that have showed up, in terms of the way we format it. When we were in person, it was project-based learning, and it was it required you to collaborate with the other mentees and test out ideas and maybe step away from something you thought you were starting, which is a really important part of any kind of project-based discipline. So compared to maybe the way you work at school, was this process familiar to you? And I guess Reagan, Peyton, did you do any of the in-person workshops? I don't remember.
No, Peyton was this past year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess Reagan.
That was Reagan, yeah.
Reagan, maybe you could speak to that point.
Yeah. I would definitely say that it took, I'm definitely an independent worker. I am more drawn to doing things my way by myself. But going into the projects, I knew that I would have to work with other people. And I would say the program really helped me to like stretch my comfort zone. I would have to turn to other people, looking for their ideas while also trying to fit mine with theirs. It was definitely challenging, I would say, but I would say I'm better at like at school. It definitely helped me to be a group worker.
Well, that architecture is a very much a collaborative effort because we work with not just other architects, but engineers and consultants of all sorts of different disciplines. So it's not a one-man show or a one-woman show. I shouldn't specify men for that. It's not a one-person show. It really takes a huge number of people. In some cases, we have multiple consultants, and within any given discipline, frequently many people. So it's the reality of what we do. So I think it's a really great lesson for just in life. So,
I think
good
that's
question, Maria.
Well, I think that's one component that was really missing from the virtual pieces, because typically we break down the girls into groups. They have to come up with the concept and to collectively, and you see, depending on people's personalities and dynamic, you see those who are step up into leadership or perhaps more extroverted or about their ideas, but it gives again back to the idea that everybody's voice matters and they feel that they're in a non-judgmental space. It's been interesting to see how different individuals negotiate that and give them the opportunity to test out, I'm going to be the one that is going to lead this group. And I think it's so critical, whether they're interested in STEM or not, to give young women that opportunity to be leaders in a group and also to step back.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's hard to follow too. I mean, people who are natural leaders step up to the leadership role, but maybe having an opportunity to be the not the leader is good, and vice versa. If you're not naturally a leader, to have to take that role. So I agree.
And Kim has a quick question for the girls, like what type of building you would like to design? High-rise, hospital, memorial, residential? Can be a quick answer.
Yeah,
Reagan has her hand up.
Yeah, I would say I have a lot of experience, or I really enjoy drawing floor plans, whether it's a hospital or a school or a house. That just really intrigues me. But one of my favorite things to design is probably residential, like a house or a room or something like that.
Do you see yourself going into, can I just ask a quick question? Yeah. Do you see yourself going into a design profession?
I would definitely say it's a possibility. I am only going into 8th grade, so I definitely have a lot of time to explore different professions.
Absolutely.
But I would say it's a really strong interest of mine.
That's great. Who had their hands up next? Peyton.
I also agree on that. I really like houses and like modeling each of the rooms to sort of like match with the others, but also have like their own like different concept to them.
And Kenny, did you have an area that interests you more than others?
I have to go with residential too. I think I just like houses a lot more because I think you could put more view into a house, or just more design. I think you can, I don't know the word, but I think it's just a lot more fun to design, whereas like a hospital or a school, you have to stick with a couple colors. You have a layout that you have to use. You have to have like a certain amount of bathrooms. You have to have classrooms, and you can't really design it as much as you can a house.
That's interesting. So I think, yeah, so, and I think what I hear is a lot of girls are seeing a lot of these shows on TV these days, which is something very different from when I was their age and thinking about architecture. I didn't have any shows to watch, and the shows that are, frequently really fun are residential, and residential architecture is very familiar. We all know, what we think about, our living conditions. So it's a logical path to be intrigued with. I don't design houses as a rule. I have done a few in my career, but I still love doing them when I do. It's fun. So
And one thing I just wanted to add is one of the reasons I got into architecture were TV shows, but I would watch it with my dad, and it was like This Old House or New Yankee Workshop, and it was all men on those shows. So I think it is great too with HGTV and some of the other channels and shows, you're seeing different people taking on these projects. So hopefully it's a little bit more expansive as opposed to just like guys out in Massachusetts or in Boston, who I love, but when that's all that you see, there's so much more out there that
absolutely
that is part of the profession and allied professions.
Absolutely.
So we only have 4 minutes left.
Wow.
We have like one question in the chat from Bridget, and I think that's probably a good question to end on because I feel like most children in general can identify with this one. And Bridget asked the girls, how much are you Minecrafting and developing your design in spaces? Do you all play Minecraft? Nobody plays Minecraft?
Oh, Peyton.
So I like to find different apps like such as Minecraft to use. And like there's another one called like Redecor where it already has like the layout of the room and you like choose materials and stuff. And I like to do that to like find different ways of like building what I had as an idea. Especially like for Minecraft, I can experiment with different types of houses.
Cool. Anybody else use any of these apps?
Yeah, so I've tried a lot of them. Some of them are creating the layout or doing the interior design, which picking patterns and flooring and all that. And I've really enjoyed them. And I would say, yes, I have tried to develop my designs, but it's usually off the top of my head. I don't usually sketch them out, then create them. It's just what I think about.
Cool. Kennedy, have you tried any? Okay, me either. That might not be surprising that I haven't tried any because
Caitlin and I were just talking about
challenges getting on Zoom.
When Caitlin and I were just talking about when we were kids that we had The Sims. And Caitlin was talking about how she cared so much about the house and like designing it. And I was the opposite. I would just make like a square and throw like the basic furniture in there. And I was like, I just want to be there, make stories.
Yeah.
I ask because I have the rising 8th grader somewhere that does all the Minecrafting and then shows me all the designs that she's created.
Oh, that's cool. That's fun. So do you have an 8th grader that's going to join us for Design Like a Girl?
I keep trying to. Right now she's telling me she's going to psychology. I'm like, great, but you're still going to do this stuff too. So I'm working on it.
You know, it's all good if you're passionate and it matters to you. You know, that's all good.
So we have 1 minute left. So a big thank you to our girls, the mentors, Joanna, for joining us today. Truly, I feel like we could talk for another hour about this and how amazing the program is. If you are interested in getting in contact with us, I just dropped our email in the chat. Girls, feel free to email us if you have questions or you want to get in contact with us. We're more than happy to help you, you know, with questions. And if you want to attend our events, we can set that up for you. Mentors, thank you, thank you, thank you. Also the same, if you're interested in getting involved with us, shoot us an email. And here's our,
I'll say, yeah,
our website too.
I'll put my email here. If anybody wants to participate as a mentor with our program, I'm adding my email. I can't talk and type my email at the same time. There we go. But you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Rachel. Rachel, maybe you can throw your email address in there too. We're going to have a whole new 4 workshop season, or, you know, academic season. I don't know what we call it, season, coming up. And I think our first workshop, is it in October, Rachel?
Yes, our first workshop will be in October. We hope to get the application out soon. And we don't know if it's going to be virtual, hybrid, in person. We're waiting to find out.
Yeah, fingers crossed. You know, I guess we know we can do anything, virtual and in person. We haven't tried hybrid yet, but I'd give it a go if we had that chance. So yeah, we look forward to next year. I think it's going to be exciting. And we're at the moment talking to a couple other chapters in the AIA, other parts of the country, to maybe have a Design Like a Girl program for them. So this has been, in my mind, successful to the point that it's fun to maybe consider having other people take part.
Thank you, Joanna, for leading this effort, and all the mentors for continuing the pipeline. So
yeah. Well, thanks so much for the invitation. And
thank
mentors
you, everyone.
and girls, thank you so much for joining me today.
Especially taking time out from your summer vacation. So very, very appreciated.
I think that was to the girls, right? Because I don't get a
yeah. The rest of us are back to work.
Thank you, ladies. Much appreciated. And thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.